Billy Meyer has taken several pictures of UFOs. According to him, they belong to the Pleiaren. Billy says the Pleiaren are extraterrestrials, who are similar to humans in appearance. And they come from a place beyond the Pleiades star cluster, which is shifted a fraction of a second from our reality. Their ships are called beam ships. All these spaceships, or beam ships, in the pictures look like silver discs. However, one of them is intriguing. This ship, because of its appearance, was named the Wedding Cake UFO. This wedding cake UFO has been profoundly studied, and it has captured the attention of scientists and skeptics of the Billy Meyer case. This is expected, since this type of spaceship is very peculiar, and there is a lot of evidence about them. In this video we will analyze the pictures, the debunkers' claim, the investigations that have been already conducted, and we will do our own investigation for you to arrive to your own conclusions. This is the first picture of this type of beam ship that Billy took. It was taken on October the 22nd, 1980, around 11:30 a.m. As usual, Billy had to be alone, in this case, in front of his home in the farm where he lives. Here are other pictures of the same ship taken a few minutes later. Later, on March the 26th, 1981, Billy took an extraordinary picture of the wedding cake UFO above his car, and a small trailer behind it. Because this UFO was too close, his car was momentarily disabled. On April the 3rd, 1981, Billy took these pictures. This time, he was on another wedding cake UFO, controlled by his extraterrestrial friend, Quetzal. Billy was not inside the ship, but on the ship, which was elevated to the height of the treetops. From there, Billy took these photos. On the same day, Billy filmed this type of UFO, which is stationed close to a Norway spruce. Quetzal is close to Billy, and one could hear Quetzal's voice very low in the back giving instructions. But Billy was not authorized to film him with his camera. Billy zoomed with the camera, and requested Quetzal to move the ship around the tree. But Quetzal did not accept. The following series of photos were taken at night, on August 1981. The usual silver appearance now looks golden, maybe because of the nearby street lights. In this picture a tree is visible in the foreground, further away a parked automobile, and the spaceship is in the background. Because it is a night picture, and the camera diaphragm is wide open, the field deep effect causes the tree and the car look out of focus. The bright stroke of light on the left is because a telemetric disc flew closely and very quickly during the exposure of the photo. These discs are like little sensors the Pleiaren use. This photo was taken a few minutes later when Billy got closer to the UFO walking past the tree. This is another picture taken at night. There are debunkers that claim that these pictures and the video are a fraud. They say that Billy used a little model, and he took the pictures using little trees, or bonsais, to create the effect of a big ship. As evidence, they are referring to the garbage can lids that are available at Billy Farm, which, by the way, are very similar to the base of this UFO. Also, the bin lids have handles that are the same as the one shown in Billy's UFO pictures taken by him. The debunkers have also made scale models, some of them not similar to the ones shown by Billy, but others have been very well made, and they look very similar to Billy's pictures. They also give the list of materials and the instructions on how to make the model like the ones shown in Billy Meyer photos. And the results of their modeling efforts are very good. And they have taken pictures trying to replicate the ones taken by Billy, some of them with excellent results. By observing the pictures they have taken, using their small wedding cake UFO model, it gives the impression that they are right, and it suggests that Billy would have made a small model, using available material, like the garbage can lids, and took the pictures, to give the impression that it was a big object. However, this is not conclusive. There are investigations that can give us more information, to tell if this is really a small model, or if it's a bigger object, and as Billy claims, an extraterrestrial spaceship. Being able to make a scale small model of the wedding cake UFO does not mean that the UFO does not exist. For example, we can make an accurate scale model of a F-16 aircraft. We can give instructions on how to assemble it, the list of materials required, and even describe how to take pictures that can give the impression of a real plane. However, it does not mean that the F-16 does not exist. So, something else is required. Something that will let us to confirm if the wedding cake UFO is a scale model or a real big artifact. What we are going to show now are the investigations described on the website of the researcher, Emeritus Professor Jim Dedorf of Oregon State University. In most of the pictures, this UFO appears close or behind the trees. And these trees are not small trees. These are mature trees of different sizes. These are real trees. For example, when Quetzal and Billy were on a ship to take pictures above the treetops, as they descended to take Billy down on the ground, they accidentally broke the treetop. The tree was the same tree Billy captured in front of the wedding cake ship. This is the broken piece of the tree that was later picked up. It is the same tree that was in front of the UFO. In this picture there is a UFO behind another tree. We can say that these trees are real, based on the conclusions made by Dr. Edward C. Jensen, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, and Elizabeth P. Ritchie, Distinguished Professor, Forest Ecology and Natural Resources Education, of Oregon State University. These are real trees, of real size. Based on his comments, it is estimated that the ship behind the tree is 3.5 meters in diameter. This is an interesting picture. This, a scale model close to the camera and the tree is far away, behind it? Or the UFO is close to the tree? You can see a dim shadow of the UFO below the tree, close to Billy's car. Also, by making an image processing, that anybody can do, using Photoshop, or a similar program, you can see on the left some tree leaves in front of the UFO. So this is a large UFO, close to the tree, not a small scale model close to Billy's camera. It is estimated that this UFO has a diameter bigger than 10 meters. Additionally, comparing other pictures, it seems that the central part of this UFO can be extended a short length upwards. So it appears to be something very sophisticated, not a simple model. Perhaps, the best way to know the diameter of these UFOs, that seem to come in different sizes, is by looking at the reflection of their spheres. The spheres that these ships have reflect the surroundings. If we know what is behind the photographer, in this case behind Billy, and we know the size of the object behind him, these reflections can tell us if the object is near or far. For this, we use the geometry laws of reflections of light rays on spherical surfaces. When Billy took the first pictures of the wedding cake UFO, he was located on his yard, in front of his home. In this panoramic picture from a postal, you may see at the right the main house, and at the left the carriage house. When this picture was taken, in 1981, there were no tall trees around. By observing this picture, and knowing the focal length of Billy's camera, the researchers found that he was located in the point indicated in this plan view, close to the carriage house wall. Billy's house is located on the right. This is a recent view of the carriage house taken from the parking yard. And this is a composition of how it would have looked back in 1980. So geometry allows us to know if Billy took a picture of a scale model close to his camera, or of a bigger ship hovering on his yard at a longer distance. These are the spheres of this UFO, shown in the picture, and one can see the reflection of the carriage house on the spheres in wide-angle spherical view, and somewhat blurred. Doing mathematical calculations, and based on the size of the carriage house wall, and making geometrical projections, the researchers found out that this wedding cake UFO is more than 2 meters in diameter. The details of this investigation can be found on the website of Professor Jim Dedorf. We made another investigation. We made a scale model of the site where Billy took the pictures of the wedding cake UFO. Every meter of the real site represents 5 centimeters in our model. We included the wall of the carriage house, the yard, and the plan view of Billy's main house. We painted the carriage house dark brown. We installed a platform to locate the camera. In our case, we used an iPhone, which we located in the rectangular opening. And we positioned the lens of the camera, so that it would match with the location of Billy when he took the picture. We used Professor Jim Dedorf plan view. And for the spheres, we used earrings and kids' marbles, which we located on top of wood supports at the accurate height. Taking pictures of reflecting spheres meets 2 laws. The first one is that at the center of the image, on the sphere center, it is located the image of the camera lens you use. In spite of not being able to see Billy's reflection, we know that the lens of his camera is in the center. This makes it possible to know that he was located at around 4 meters from the north corner of the carriage house. And we know he was standing very close to the wall. One may think that he was not located near the carriage house wall, but at 4 or 5 meters away from it. That is not true. Calculating the distances based on the size of the house window, taking into account that the picture measures 35 millimeters, and knowing the focal distance of the camera's lens, it was concluded that the camera is very close to the wall of the carriage house. In addition, the shadows on the spheres are proportional, and they look about the same in this zoomed image. If Billy was away from the wall, the reflections in the images would look shifted from the center as shown in this figure, from one sphere to another, because they have different points of view. The second law is that the size of the spheres does not matter, because they reflect proportionally in the same image. To confirm it, we took a picture from 2 spheres, of different sizes. Their images are of different sizes, but they are proportional. By increasing the size of the smaller sphere, we see their images are the same. So, no matter how big the spheres are, they will show the same proportions of the reflected image. In other words, if a reflection is 50% on the whole sphere image, it will be always 50% in any sphere of any size. This allowed us to use the same sphere without worrying about its size. along the center line that point towards the center of the UFO. In our model, we made marks every meter from Billy's camera. And in each mark, we located the sphere to take pictures and look at the reflected image of the carriage house wall. We wanted to replicate the reflected images on the wedding cake UFO picture that Billy took that day. On Billy's picture, you can see a dark shadow that is the reflection of the wall of the carriage house. In the lower part you see the reflection of the base of this UFO. And at each side, you see the reflection of the nearest sphere. These reflections can be seen in the picture we took here. Looking at Billy's picture that we analyzed, we were able to verify the edges of the UFO from details of Billy's house that is in the background on the image. And so, we were able to trace these boundary lines on the paper. We made 3 UFO sizes, one of 3.5 meters in diameter, same UFO size photographed behind the trees, a smaller UFO of 1.75 meters in diameter, and a model made with the dimensions of the garbage can lid, of 55 centimeters. And we located them along the center line of vision. So, which one of them is the UFO from the picture? It is a scale model that Billy made and photographed in front of his house. Or it was a big and mysterious object, hovering above his backyard? The answer to this question will be found by analyzing the reflected image on the sphere at different distances from the camera. We located the camera on the opening of the carriage house wall in the scale model. And from there, we took pictures of the sphere every meter, starting at 12 meters and getting closer and closer to reach a 1 meter distance. These are the pictures that we took. For the UFO of 3.5 meters in diameter, the central sphere is located at 6 meters of distance. For the 1.75 meters UFO, the central sphere is at 2.95 meters. And for the scale model made with a can lid, the nearest sphere must be located at just 1 meter from Billy's camera. Here is a composition of all the photos. Billy Meyer's picture is below. Comparing them, we notice that the carriage house wall image is very similar in size to the one that corresponds to 5 meters away from the camera. It is 33% of the sphere diameter, horizontally. Definitively it cannot be the 55 centimeters UFO scale model, located at 1 meter from the camera, because its shadow expands to a 63% of the width of the sphere. The size of the UFO photographed by Billy is near 3 meters in diameter. It is possible that it might be the 3.5 meters UFO, or even bigger. Due to the blurry image, it is difficult to see in the shadow more details. It might be the sphere located at 6 meters distance, not the one at 5 meters away. So, do you think this is a scale model, made from a car and lid? The lid measures 55 centimeters, not 3 meters. If you like, you can do the experiment by yourself. Use a reflecting sphere, for example, a Christmas tree ball. Find a wall that is near to 8.3 meters wide, stand close to the wall in the center, and take pictures of the ball at 1 meter distance, like the proposed scale model, and at 5 meters distance, like the ship that Billy photographed. It does not matter the camera you use, or the size of the sphere, the result will be the same. The width of the image of the wall on the sphere must be 33% of the width on the sphere's diameter to replicate Billy's picture. A very curious piece of information is that these types of garbage cans arrived to Billy's farm a few years later after he took these pictures. These are our conclusions. Even though it is possible to make scale models of the wedding cake UFO and took photos similar to the ones Billy took, the detailed analysis shows that they are not small objects. Investigations made on the proximity of these UFOs to the trees, that these are not little trees, but large trees, and the reflections on the spheres of the wedding cake UFOs indicate they are big objects, not scale models. The can lid that the debunkers proposed that Billy used is 55 centimeters wide. The UFO seemed to have 14 meters, 7 meters, and 3.5 meters in diameter. There are still pending questions. Why did garbage can lids, very similar to the base of the wedding cake UFOs, arrived years later to Billy's farm? Who did this, and what was the purpose of that? Was it a coincidence? Why is this UFO so different to the others photographed by Billy? What do Pliaran want to show us? Do the other ships have similar spheres inside, which are like magnetic engines hidden by an exterior and aerodynamic cover? Do they want to show us how these ships work? In this case, like others about Billy Meier, evidence of extraterrestrial presence on Earth are presented. But at the first glimpse, they might not be convincing, leaving clues for those who cannot accept the idea, may identify a possible fraud, and continue with their already established beliefs. And, on the other hand, other people that study the evidence in more detail may find proofs that extraterrestrials are close to us. What do you think? In the near future, it would be helpful to have Billy Meier's authorization for digitizing the original negatives of his pictures, so that we could obtain a better resolution of the pictures, with clear reflected images on the spheres. These images would show what was in the surroundings. With a computer image processing program, the spherical distorted images can be converted into flat, rectangular images. And because there are several spheres, they will show several points of view. And stereoscopic, or 3D images, could be obtained of what was around the ships when the pictures were taken. Perhaps several people of our generation are still asking themselves if these photos are those of real extraterrestrial ships, or if they are a fraud. And, maybe, future generations will ask themselves, how does this work? And they will have the foundation for developing a new technology.